I think I haven't mentioned the obvious when it comes to this thing about who's in control and how like sort of like social science crowd is sort of working with you know both families who want to cover up abuse and like preventing real change in from in like in the actual country. But are like but do well, we don't know what they think or what they don't seem to believe in anything. But yeah, one thing I like to say is the very concepts they have, like paranoia. One reason there is a conspiracy theory community, I consider myself a part of it, is a lot like taking at the term. We certainly know about this if you're taking at the term like the, the there's a queer studies, at school at schools you can take queer studies. They're taking back the word, a pejorative word used for a gay person, like they're taking the word back. And this is the same thing for people who are like speculative and have been like harassed or like almost institutionalized in the previous generation for being speculative about what we don't know, which is really like put it together. Right in a previous era, like or coming, they were simply called paranoid. Social science that like you perceive such a person as paranoid. Like, what is your empirical evidence? You have paranoia, right? So particularly the term, like, no, I'm in the conspiracy theory community, which is a speculative community. So it sort of blocks you. And by the way, if you're ever worried or wondering about this, like people like David Icke and things like that, and who's the guy with the Indiana Jones hat, they do make a lot of money off what they do. But I want to make something very clear that when the doctor at the integrated medicine, like this sort of whatever he is, like part of the problem. He said, like, Steven, have you ever hallucinated? Because he does like spy on the videos and talk about like the jump room and everything. I said, yo, like, read David Icke, go look at the size of his house, and look at the size of your house. Have I ever hallucinated? Like, you don't like but don't tell me I hallucinated. Take a look at the size of David Icke's home. It's called a mansion. It's bigger than where you live. Have I ever hallucinated? Like, oh boy, like you really don't know what's going on. Being able to make a lot of money off waking people up is actually one other antidote to these social scientists. Like Steven's paranoid. He thought he went to something called the jump room. Well, how do you know I'm not just making that up to make a fortune? You see, it's a good like block that a lot of people are selling books and stuff like that, but they're not doing it for money. In the same sense, I'm not doing this for money, but I'm saying like that we took back the term. Being speculative about what we don't know and putting the pieces together is a rational thing to do. They're using words like paranoia and delusions of reference and odd beliefs. Like they're diagnosing people like who are politically awake as young people and are trying to put the pieces together of what may be going on. One reason to risk my life to come here and make these videos is right because this is called paranoia. So I want to tell you about that too. That if you're someone who's like trying to put the pieces together of what's happening, it's great that there's some like people talking to young people like an Alex Jones or something. But the problem is like much more serious. I believe I perceive him as doing the best he can to like talk to young people. I've met young people, but he also talks about FEMA camps and things like that. That may be the only way to do it. But I like who really do like I really can't leave objective reality to say like no, I'm worried about FEMA camps. I'm worried about the crowd from the old Communist Party hierarchy, like being these people who are like scientists, that are institutionalizing the entire ruling class. Remember, a lot of that isn't just it serves 2 points at once. It's not just like a punishment on them because they like look down on people who have inherited wealth because they themselves have this sort of left wing bent, but it also does stop genuine change because they know full well that like where people come from who lead movements and stuff, or like would in any sense, like usually come from the ruling class, like whether underground or Osama bin Laden, for that matter, his family's a big oil dynasty. That is who sort of like, you know, or in my case, can every time their computer gets ganked, can buy another one and do the activity. Right? I mean, they know that too. They by institutionalizing them, they sort of like keep their weird like red bureaucracy systems in place. Um, but and also they attempt to get rid of the kinds of people they don't think should be people like that. Girls who like to wear bikinis and pose for photographs, like they want to be such people. They're doing a bunch of things at once. But why we had to take back the term conspiracy theory is because, right, I'm in a conspiracy theory community. And then I also say, oh, like, I intend to make money off what I'm doing. I don't know that I really mean that. But it's one way to, like, shut down these people who come after you and say, if you're hallucinated or you think you're a little paranoid, I'll say, well, I was just doing it to make buku money, and that shuts them down. So that's kind of the game with things like that. But you know, you got to tell them what they want to hear so you can get out of it sometimes. Take back the term.